Hey everyone, my name is Luke. This is the Outdoor Gear Review, and today I'm showing you all how I go about addressing my gear once I come back from an overnight trip or a multi-day trip, whatever. The first thing that I do when I come back from a trip is that I stop on the porch, I put down my pack, and I look it over, looking for ticks specifically. I cannot begin to tell you how many times that I've brought ticks into the house that have been on my backpack. So I always stop, take a few minutes, look everything over, then I bring my gear inside. Then I grab a wet washcloth, and that is essentially to address my gear, to clean it up as I begin to unpack. So with that being said, guys, gals, let's get started. So I basically start by unpacking everything inside of the backpack. Water bottle, it goes directly to the sink. Now, this is my trash from the trip. I basically discard all the trash, wash the bag. This is a thick plastic bag, makes for a good trash bag. Next up, I have my jacket. I will let this sit out and air dry. Next up, I have my pot. That goes in the sink as well. Here on the side, I have my water filter bag. I will empty this out, scrub up what I need to, and let it air dry. Then there is this. This is my tent. It is super wet. I have my ground sheet inside of this. This will go outside. Now, when it comes time to drying your tent, the fly, the body, the ground sheet, you need to do this in a shady location. Do not set this thing up out in the sun because the sun can damage your equipment. So find a shady spot. For myself, I'm going to set it up on the porch because I have a covered porch. Do whatever you have to do. If you have a garage, that's a great place to set it up. With my blanket, sleeping bag, it really doesn't matter. I always set this out and let it air dry as well. As long as it's nice and clean, I just put it over the couch. I do the same thing for my sleeping pad. All of this gear comes into contact with moisture, either because of the humidity, your body, sweat, and so on. It's a good idea just to let it air dry. Then I have my food bag. And essentially, I will go through this, take out what I need to, and so on. Power kit. As soon as I get home and I begin taking all of my gear out, I will charge all of my items. Headlamp, light stick, battery bank. I immediately do this so I don't have to worry about it or think about it later. Just do it as soon as you unpack it. No big deal. So once I have everything out of the backpack, then I take a good look at the backpack and clean it up as I need to. Usually, I check the bottom. I shake out the dirt. Essentially what I'm doing here is taking care of my gear. With outdoor gear being so expensive, why not take care of it? That is one reason why I have all these backpacks, even from when I was a kid, and that's because I've taken good care of them. With every piece of gear that I've ever had, I've had to work for it. So yeah, I appreciate every single thing. I don't like my gear getting torn up. I want to take care of it. Once I have the pack all wiped up, I set it out to dry as well. Now, while you're unpacking, make sure to check every single pocket for stashed candy, granola bars, whatever it is that you may have stowed in weird places, because when you're backpacking, you're oftentimes stowing things anywhere you can. Make sure to take a close look at all of your gear before you put it up and make sure that there are no issues that you need to address, such as holes in your ground sheet, holes in your backpack, blanket, and so on. Think about the small things, such as your toothbrush. You need to make sure to get that thing out, let it air out so that mold doesn't grow on it. And also, you can begin thinking about the gear that you took on your adventure. What worked, what didn't work, what needs to be altered so it fits your needs as a backpacker. Something else that I do as soon as I get home, I take my clothes off, all of them, and I throw those in the washer, not the hamper, just in case there's ticks on me. It happens. Also, before you put your shoes up, you need to make sure that there's no ticks on them. If your shoes are dirty and wet, make sure to clean them up and dry them out. Those are pretty much the steps that I go through when I come back from a trip. I take care of all of my gear. I replenish all the meds, toilet paper, whatever it is that I use that I usually take with me. I recharge batteries. Essentially, as soon as I walk in the door, I do this every single time. It doesn't matter how tired I am. I begin taking care of my gear so I could dry it out and put it up. Typically with a super wet tent, it could take 24, 48 hours to dry. Stuff like your blanket, your pad, you could dry that out in like 4 or 5 hours. That's usually what I do. The amount of time, of course, that you will need will depend on the trip that you were just on. Let's see, is there anything else to talk about? Essentially, I will leave you all with this. If you take care of your gear, it will take care of you, and it will last a very long time, especially when it comes to your tent. You really need to get that thing out and get it to dry before mildew begins to set in. There's so many chemicals involved when it comes to making a tent, to the waterproofing and so on. It is best to dry that thing out as soon as possible. Again, the more care that you give your tent and your backpacking gear, the longer it will last. So there you have it, everyone. That is the process that I personally go through when it comes to my trips and my gear. What about you all? Comment down below, share your thoughts, and share your process. If you have a question, email me. Until next time, strength and honor. Bye.